I know I decided to call it quits with all the girls. Not getting serious with any of them was what I told myself after Love's Day. I could not, really. Oh, the more I knew them, the more I was with them, the more I felt that I belong in there, that I am not a stranger. Eventually I knew it would all level out and I would stop have that terrible conscience over any looks I might have laid on them. Besides, girls their age were already doing modeling. Although now I couldn't see myself falling in love with anyone as low age as those models or our girls. I knew that under certain circumstances there would be a possibility. But a girl for me, a perfect girl, there was no such thing. Only Messiah was perfect. Messiah and my other imaginary loves like Jeka was too. But these girls I did not know their full personality and I always could hope that they could be perfect for me. Of course, when I saw other women on the street, I could also think I don't know them yet, therefore they could be perfect for me. However, it was also true that most, if not all of them already were their own personalities. Of course, that meant that there was in fact no chance of them being perfect for me. Hope, yeah, I could hope, but nothing more. With these schoolgirls, I still had hope. Maybe they would find me so impressive that they would change? On the other hand, what was I thinking? There is absolutely no chance that there would exist a girl that would be perfect for me. If I found such a girl, could I love her? Did I love Messiah? I guess not. She was so perfect that she was a part of me. Well, that was my summer, I guess. Thinking and thinking, trying to work out a final theory on how things are working. I really liked philosophy, all the thinkers, but I never really respected any of them for their ideas. Particularly in the theory of love, they all did not do too well in my eyes. I had so many questions, no one of them dealt with. Or maybe they did, but our idiotic teacher only taught us their main ideas in an abstract, incomprehensible line that we had to memorize. I would often take out my bike those days. It was so beautiful outside, the city was so wonderful. I had my stable route I took. Mostly I went downtown to see all the people in the city, then went to the river banks and then went to the other side of the river, where it was so peaceful and I could process all the impulses I got from the ride. Often I would simply think about many things. It was so wonderful, the silence and solitude I enjoyed on the other side of the river. And it was a beautiful day like I just described. It was the beginning of, I don't know, everything, I guess, for me. When I finished my route in the city, I went down to the banks. But before I really got there, I had to stop and cross the street. I stopped my bike, exactly on the crossing line and looked at the lights. It was red. There was a woman standing on my left, also waiting to cross the street. I looked at her and that was the ethics teacher from that one time in class. What's her name? I think her name was Kamiyama. I greeted her politely. She looked at me. I instantly noticed that she has troubles remembering me. Naturally, because she might not even have noticed me that time. But then, I think she realized I was from another class. She nodded with a smile. We waited for the green light for about 10 seconds, but there was such a vast amount of thoughts in my head that I hardly know what to start with. Fall in love with a teacher. First, I noticed her clothing. I looked at her just for a second, pretending I am looking at the traffic, but I knew it. I simply always know when something starts. Not that I would instantly know, yeah, I will fall in love with this girl, but I knew that I really will think about her. I was doomed, yeah, that's my fault as well, you are doomed. That very moment, when I looked at her, the time the class did one day come back. I thought I did notice her back then, but I did. This was bad. I was standing there, waiting for green, and I knew beside me was Miss Kamiyama, a teacher from our school. The matter got worse the second I looked at her that second time, pretending to look at the traffic. I saw that she is so beautiful and quite my idol, the type of woman I preferred just before the Redux. Then, as if it wasn't enough, when I looked at her, my look changed from normal to sexual. I could swear that was the end for me. What I was doing there was beyond every really bad situation I have ever encountered. But I was helpless. I saw her body, those beautiful legs. There's no hope for this guy, seriously. Her wonderfully round breasts and the silky skin of her arms. She was over 30 maybe, but it didn't matter. And I was gazing at her with that look. I knew I was gone forever. There was no way of undoing that. I don't know what came over me. On green, I said goodbye to her. She replied and I just kept going, not looking back until I was well away. And it happened. The whole day I thought about her. There was nothing else on my mind. And it got worse. The next day, I wanted to see her again. I thought that when I meet someone and that person would like me too, and would like to meet again. But we were so unfortunate as to not know anything about each other. The only way we could meet again was the same place and the same time as last time. Maybe the very next day, or the next week, most probably. And so I went to the riverbanks the same time as yesterday. Maybe, just maybe. Of course I knew there was no way she could notice anything from my behavior and there was little chance of her actually wanting to meet me again. But then again, my coming, she would not risk anything, because she just came. It may be her routine. We would meet again, so what? Coincidence? Why should she not do what she does normally? But nothing. No Miss Kamiyama. Of course that was only my 40% chance. Why 40%? There was a 60% chance, as I figured it, for me to see Miss Kamiyama, and that was the next week, the same day as I saw her last time, Thursday. I freaking don't see where did you take that 40 and 60% actually. Because she could have some things to do on Friday. But in any case, when a person does one thing during the week, there's a good chance that he will do the same the next week at the same time. For instance, if I would meet a girl I like on Tuesday at 4 afternoon jogging in the river, I would come next week the same time if I wanted to meet her again. Naturally, trying the next day is also an option, for that she might be jogging daily. But the next week thing seemed even more probable. So I was not discouraged. During the weekend, it all began to take shape. I was not knowing that I would like her. I knew that I liked her. There was no point in lying to myself. It was really horrible. Miss Kamiyama was dressed so sexy. She was like a magnet to me. Thursday. Nothing. Nothing. And my desire was growing within me. If I just could see her one more time, it would satisfy my hunger for her. I would be okay for a while. But this way, it only made my imagination go absolutely to the maximum. The image of Miss Kamiyama would be now all I could see. I stopped ignoring the girls in the city. I looked after a woman again. Yet, it was only to enhance my image of Miss Kamiyama. I saw some women wearing sexy t-shirts. And there was only one thing I imagined. How that would look on Miss Kamiyama. How she would look in those clothes. There is no hope for him. I absolutely believe she could wear anything and she would still look perfect. There was no other words. What kind of person was I really? Wasn't that also disrespectful of me? Thinking about Miss Kamiyama because she's an attractive woman and having that image in front of my eyes all the time? There were many things I thought about. Perhaps it has all come back now. I didn't have anything physical ever since the Redux, and when I saw guess Miss Kamiyama and realized that she was a woman, someone who I liked. Yeah, it was true. I did look at Miss Kamiyama like that, but I didn't think she's an object or anything. No, she was attractive to me and that was what I felt. I tried to hold back, but I couldn't stop it. Images of her kept appearing in my head and I was defenseless as I was delighted. This had such a calming effect on me. It seems not logical, but I just had to picture her body, and I would be happy those days. It was not only the physical side of Miss Kamiyama that attracted me. I recalled her classes when I was with 2C. Only now did I really understand that I liked her style of communicating with people. I had to take out my bicycle and go for a ride to sort out my thoughts. I knew I would now dream only about Miss Kamiyama. There was nothing else on my day's schedule. Imagine, fantasize, and think about her. Naturally, I encountered tons of problems and reasons why it just will never work out. For first, she was a teacher at our school. She was physically almost twice my age. And she taught 2C, and not our class. And besides, I really knew her only from those 2 lessons that 2C had with her. I was in danger of dreaming of her and imagining her personality the way she was not. How could I know she is never hard to get along person? How could I know she's caring? I anticipated so much, and in the course of the last month of the summer, I would surely make up hundreds of attributes she didn't have. Maybe it was okay that way. Maybe I should give way to my fantasies. I would totally exhaust my thinking material. Just like that suicide attempt thing. Then I would maybe meet her and she wouldn't match my expectations, and I would have to forget it, because she wouldn't be the one I had feelings towards. But too bad for me. I thought about her very carefully. I only imagined her pretty face and thousands of possibilities and scenarios where I could meet her. Maybe we would be in the same supermarket, riding the same elevator, and that elevator would get stuck. Wow, that's a nice scenario, sir. Then, maybe she would have a car and have an accident. I would be the only one to be close. I would take the car because I knew how to drive and take her to the hospital. Really? She would have a car accident and you would take a car. So, if she had an accident that she couldn't do anything, I think the car wouldn't be able to move. There was always a way. Or maybe one day I would ride my bike and would get beaten up by some bad guys. And she would find me and take me to her apartment and take care of me. There were so many things and I kept thinking of new situations, like a mass production factory. Too bad I didn't know her first name. I would have to find out the first thing in the new school year. I was forcing myself to remain neutral in this aspect and not have any thoughts about it. I didn't want to get used to fantasy name and be surprised by her real name. When I think of it, I was doing everything the right way. Later on I thought of real plans how to discover her name and possibly how to try to be near her. I would first have to find out where she has her office and slowly learn more and more. My only wish was that she didn't find a different job over the summer. It seems like a normal worry, but I was really afraid. There was so much I wanted to know about her. Although now, I just wanted to see her once again. See if the image I had in my head is true. See the details of her face. I reached the top of the hills that overlooked our city. Miss Kamiyama was still on my mind. There were surprisingly little details I remembered from that one time and the traffic lights. I roughly knew the shape of her glasses, but the eyes, I had no idea. Her hair? What color was it? It was pale? But what color? I wanted to see her. I had to see her. There was so much I wanted to see. I thought I even forgot how she looks. And I knew if I saw her again, she would seem more and more beautiful to me. I would not spend any thought on anyone else, but I was checking my calendars one night. There I thought about how it was with Miori. I just recalled what happened at the dance classes. And although there was not a trace of Miori on my mind now, I just analyzed whether I acted the right way or not. You did not act properly. You chose the bad path. This simple thought was enough for my mind to produce a dream the following night. That was as wonderful as it was unacceptable to me and incomprehensible. Well, that's a nice picture. It would change nothing. I knew that. There was nothing else on my mind now than Miss Kamiyama. But I think it was the chance, the second chance I have probably missed with Miori, that I guess I must have felt sorry for, which started this dream. In the dream nothing exceptional happened, but I was dreaming I was with Miori. But she was no girl. She was my age, around 28, and we met somewhere. It was unbelievable. Miori was so beautiful. The thing was that Miss Kamiyama was always in my head, even in that dream. And Miori, that most wonderful being in existence. She took my hand. It was like a dream come true. I could feel her hand. It was the dream come true in fact. In this dream, Miori behavior radiated, I don't know, love? It was so wonderful. She took my hand, and she was a little afraid, shy, but I could feel she wants to. As if she knew I liked Miss Kamiyama. But nevertheless, she showed me that what could have been. There would never be a good time. I only had one life and I already had missed Miss Kamiyama within it now, and there was no way around it. Miori had to take her chance despite it. I was almost in tears. I couldn't believe what was happening before my eyes. It was too late to change anything. But she showed me what could have been, what we could have had. It's never too late, you fucking idiot, you. No words can be told what I think about that guy right now. I won't tell anything about him, seriously. But now, no one mattered, because we were now together. We didn't do anything in that dream. Miori just took my hand to show me where she lived now. She was alone and I never told her I loved someone else now. Of course I would always love her in a way, but that would be different I guess. And the whole situation was so wonderful. She was so incredibly soft. And me too. I was just melting when I realized what situation I was in. There she was, Miori, so beautiful and so gentle to me. She held my hand so gently and with so much love. And so much regrets over the chance not taken, that I guess I will never experience anything as gentle from anyone again. So, when you see her, just move your ass! Miori was so wonderful, and the tension between us was so big I could feel it crush me. There was so much energy. I had to use 3 eyes and comprehend what was happening, that I caught myself stopping to gather my thoughts. I could feel Miori wants me. I felt it. If I wanted, I could take her in my arms and hold her whenever I wished. I knew I could do that, because she radiated it so strongly I could not be mistaken. If there were no Miss Kamiyama, I keep telling Annie instead of M, things would be different. I just could not do it. I could not embrace the biggest love of my life. Even in my dreams, I didn't have the courage, perhaps because I loved Miss Kamiyama on her image in my head, but with Miori it was a different kind of love. But those were not the things I thought about when I was asleep having that dream I still call the most beautiful dream of my entire life. I woke up, absolutely delighted, disturbed, everything. In fact, I still felt the atmosphere of that dream and I would feel it for a few more days before it went out of my immediate memory. Those days I not only kept thinking about Miss Kamiyama, but I also replayed the dream in my mind. I never dreamed of Miori in a fantasizing way. This time I only recalled the dream again and again. Even my fantasies with Miss Kamiyama came to a halt those days. I just kept thinking about her without too much non-realism. And had one final regret. I didn't regret that I didn't give a note to Miori. Why don't you regret that? Or that I have been passive towards her before the Redux? How can you not regret that? No one regretted that I never touched her in my dream. What the fuck is wrong with you? Hopefully I didn't wake up anyone. No one would have to know anything. No one's feeling would be get hurt. Why was I so stupid? Even when I didn't realize it was a dream, maybe I should have gone for it. She was so willing, just one kiss, one touch, just to see what it would be like. I have missed my third chance, really. A dream is not a fucking chance! And I thought that guy can't annoy me anymore. Seriously, that's just surprising. If I had been a little more intelligent, even if I would fail to recognize my environment in that dream as that of a dream, I could still figure out that that was a situation that would not require my loyalty to Miss Kamiyama and just do what I wanted to do. Maybe it was useless to think about it more. It would not bring anything. And despite the situation, I knew that in long terms it could not work out. But it was different with Miss Kamiyama. After a week of coping with the after effects of that dream, I returned my attention fully to her. The school year was around the corner. So move your fucking ass to me, or you idiot! I would have to do so many things. I didn't know whether they would work out. There was so much to discover. Miss Kamiyama's personality could be very different, and there was a huge gap between my dreams and reality, which rationally thinking would never take place. If I looked at my ultimate goal, it would have to be for us to be lovers. And despite all that, that never brought me down from my dreamings, which were as intense as ever. Normally, such a hard reality would discourage me instantly. I don't know where I got all that courage from. But for me, it was also clear that any thought of in fact getting Miss Kamiyama would be the most impossible thing in my life. And I guess no person would be able to pull off such a thing. Besides, I already thought about it. Maybe Miss Kamiyama already has a boyfriend. Probably she has, you idiot.